Immigration is an important issue of civic and global engagement because America is a melting pot. However, now, under the new legislation and President Trump, there is a complete moratorium on all refugee resettlement, also known as extreme vetting, from Muslim-majority nations like Syria, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq. The Muslims and other Islamic nations have come into the U.S. for decades. Now, the U.S. relationship is at its lowest with lots of other countries.
To realize that we are the descendants of 40 million people who left other countries, other familiar scenes, to come here to the United States to build a new life, to make a new opportunity for themselves and their children. I think it is not a burden, but a privilege to have the chance to share that great concept among all of our people, to make this really, as it was for them, a new world for us, and indeed for all those who look to us. That is what this organization has stood for 50 years. That's what this country has stood for 200 years. And that's what this country will continue to stand for. Thank you.
Instability will continue for decades in many parts of the world. In the Middle East, in Afghanistan, and parts of Pakistan.
My name is Shamir Lodi.
My name is Sinem Jesur.
Anastasia Tonina.
I'm French and Pakistani.
I'm from Turkey.
Russia, St. Petersburg, Russia.
But I think the president obviously made a decision to continue to reinforce our relationship with Turkey, given the circumstances of facing ISIS on the ground.
It was the president's own State Department that sounded the alarm about democracy in a statement. Concerns include observed irregularities on voting day and an uneven playing field. We look to the government of Turkey to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of all its citizens, commitment to the rule of law, and a diverse and free media.
The thing is, the country has become the world's largest jailer of journalists. Everyone who wants to say whatever they believe are accused of betraying the country. Like a book or a novel or article, even a tweet can be a reason for everyone to go to prison or on a trial. I feel like our president and Trump is very similar because even though people, like the citizens of their country, don't like what they're doing, how they rule the country, they don't listen to any of these citizens. They just do whatever they believe it's right.
Trump hasn't said much about Pakistan, but as of now, however, I think it's on a potential list of being part of his, travel ban that he's planning on reforming.
Let's hit it. Do you think Muslims are a problem?
Well, I think a certain segment are certainly a problem, and unless you want to be so politically correct where you want me to say, oh, absolutely not. I mean, you have ISIS, you have the migration, you have all of this stuff. You have, a lot of people think you're going to end up with World War III over the Middle East. I've heard that for 25 years.
He didn't touch me so far, so I don't really care about this. I know that, we have one girl in the conservatory who's from Iran, and she got in troubles with bank account just because probably she's from Iran. So for proving that she's going to be here legally for next year, she needs to bring even schedule for next semester, which is insane. Because she brought I-20 to the bank and they told her that it wasn't enough. But it didn't touch me, and I think Trump is not that stupid to destroy the relationship.
What do you call a relationship? I mean, he treats me with great respect. I have no relationship with Putin. I don't think I've ever met him. I never met him. I don't think I've ever met him.
You would know it if you did.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I was in Russia. I was in Moscow recently. And I spoke indirectly and directly with President Putin, who could not have been nicer.
Never spoken to him on the phone?
I've been in Moscow. I didn't meet him in Moscow. Where?
Never spoken to him on the phone?
I have never spoken to him on the phone.
In my country, there are a bunch of jokes about Trump. That's probably happens here. So, I don't know. We'll see in the future what's going to happen. Like, it's obvious that Putin is smarter than Trump.
Pakistan and the U.S. have an extremely complicated relationship, definitely defined by the current series of events with Osama bin Laden being found in Pakistan. Definitely complicated the relationship between the two. Additionally, I believe that because Pakistan borders Afghanistan, Pakistan is of great use to the U.S. since the majority of the time the U.S. is greatly involved in Afghanistan.
April 16, 2017, Turkish people voted for yes or no in order to heal its broken democracy or give one man absolute power and the right to rule everything just the way he wants. I think Turkey's story is a great example to any other countries who are struggling with the government and the people, because Turkey used to be, it was in very hard conditions and then it turned into a republic. But right now, history is repeating itself, so it shows that sometimes countries don't always go forward. It can also go backwards. It just depends on the people who is ruling it.
How could the American people go from voting for President Obama, who is all for equal documentation, to President Trump, who is teaching young Americans how to not treat everybody equally and to earn the same American dream that others have been getting while Obama was in office?
Now let's also remember that hundreds of thousands of talented, hardworking students in this country face another challenge: the fact that they aren't yet American citizens. Many were brought here as small children, are American through and through, yet they live every day with the threat of deportation. Others came more recently to study business and science and engineering. But as soon as they get their degree, we send them home to invent new products and create new jobs somewhere else. That doesn't make sense. I believe as strongly as ever that we should take on illegal immigration. That's why my administration has put more boots on the border than ever before. That's why there are fewer illegal crossings than when I took office. The opponents of action are out of excuses. We should be working on comprehensive immigration reform right now.
I don't plan on staying or working in the United States after I graduate from college.
I'd like to get a job in the orchestra, so and make my living here, because here is more stable than in Russia. In Russia, I think they all care only about themselves. So as soon as they get all the money, they're done with their jobs. And here people, I guess, I hope, like how I see, even like on the level of living in this country is very much higher, just probably because the rules work here, because like people in the government don't really think only about themselves.